This is the Renny Doyle podcast. This is Renny Doyle, and I've got a special guest,
Kyle Clark.
So Kyle's here as part of our new program that we're going to start. It's called Profiles of Success. Now, this is men and women that are in the midst of not just building, but have built a serious blue card business, and what I call at a success level. And what I mean by that is that they have not only built a profitable business, they've built a life around that business that's allowed them a lifestyle to actually live and enjoy, make investments, and so forth. So Kyle, welcome. Glad you could make it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Kyle and I go back many years. I've been watching this young man, tear up the industry. And so why don't you go ahead and introduce your company real quick, what you do.
I am the owner of Extreme Detailing. I thought the word extreme detailing was cool back in 1998 when I started my business.
Before the internet got going?
Yeah, so I Googled extreme detailing, and there was only one other that was on Google at all. And it was a company out of Mexico that sold products. So I was like, sweet, I have a unique name.
Right.
Not really now.
Right.
But so I've been doing detailing since 1998. I was in high school, like a freshman in high school.
Wow. And so what, did you ever dream back then that you'd do it this long? Was it just a ways to get by back then, or?
Honestly, I had no idea where I was going to go. And I've tested the waters in different ways. I served a mission for my church in 2005 to 2007. Mm-hmm. And right when I got back, I went into Chaffee College and started doing college courses for criminal justice. I thought I was going to join the family business. My dad's in law enforcement, so is my brother. And so I thought that's the way I would go. And detailing outweighed my desire to be a cop.
Wow.
I wanted to own my own business. Since I've never worked for anybody,
right,
it kind of just felt right. I don't know how to explain it. I like detailing. I had to learn how to be a business owner, but detailing is always what I wanted to do.
A couple things popped up in that. So could you imagine at this stage in your life of going to work for someone else?
No. I have no idea how I'd even do it.
Right.
Like, unless someone wanted to, tell me, here's your job, here's how much we're paying you, and go for it.
Right.
But actually to have to report to someone and deal with the bureaucracy in a job, a normal job, man, it would frustrate me.
Yeah.
Just because I'm one that when I get an idea, I go, or I make the call. I'm like, hey, I got a great idea. I'm going to call this person. So.
Well, and it's not like, your dad has a successful, career in law enforcement. Your brother does. And so it's not like they've got bad positions, but, we've got a lot in our group that you're a part of, the Detail Mafia. We've got a lot of former police officers. And I think the grass is always greener. I think when you're a detailer, when you're younger, you thought, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to follow the family tradition, follow my dad, follow my brother, go in, become a law enforcement officer. But there's things about their career that they don't dig either.
Yeah, I know that. So I did a lot of ride-alongs when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. Because my dad worked for a department, I was able to go out with that department, and my brother worked for a different department. So I went out with the sheriff's department, went out in the helicopter. Cool, fun stuff. Right?
Oh yeah, right.
Being in a cruiser, rolling code, and chasing after street racers and stuff. It was a good time. But then watching them take people to jail and the paperwork and hearing the drama
right.
of law enforcement and it's not what I wanted in my life. I don't know. Maybe I could say I'm not as strong as a person, but the divorce rate is so high.
Oh, it's huge, through the roof.
I didn't want that.
Well, it is an entrepreneurship too, though.
Yeah.
Because listen to this. You just hit on something. Is somebody that's listening to this right now that's brand new in a business. I don't care what you're doing. You see, in your case, it's, you're polishing cars. You're making cars. Detailing's not what it was even 10 years ago. It's not even what it was 5 years ago. It's definitely, I think detailing stayed relatively the same for most of the modern day times. And it really started changing about 10, 12 years ago maybe 15, but really in the last 10, 12 years, it's taken a drastic change, and it's not what it was. But a lot of people that are in the situation that you were in, 15 years ago, is they're getting into this because, and even if they're coming out of a successful career where they're in, they're in corporate America, right?
Yeah.
Is that they dramatize and say, oh man, I'm going to be working on these amazing cars. You know what? A lot of what you're going to be doing is paperwork and taxes and payroll and marketing and other things, just other than what you do as a skill set.
You hit on a huge point. I took it down in my notes earlier. There's a difference between having passion to clean cars and actually running a detailing business.
Right.
And, I like to sit back and watch people. I watch the industry from social media and watch it from, in person at trade shows. And you can usually read, who's killing it in business and in their skill set. You can read who is killing it in their business, but they're not a good detailer.
Right.
Or you can read who's a great detailer, but they suck at business.
Right.
And so watching those individual people, and learning from them has helped me learn how to be a better business owner. And it's every day.
It's funny. I just talked to another. I love to share these stories, and I've got so many great people that I get to talk with and meet with, at different events around the world now. And this young guy, not too long ago, came up to me and he approached me, and he goes, I've got a couple different, I'm very business minded. He had a degree. He got his business degree. He's got all the right. He's got all the right education, formal education, but he had 0 street degrees, and he's not into cars. And I asked him one thing. I said, okay, why detailing? And he goes, well, I think I've watched it grow and change, and also it's an affordable business to get into. And so I said, you've got one giant hurdle in front of you out of everything you said. You want to guess what that was before I go into it? What would alarm you out of all that? Anything jumping out at you?
Well, does he like actually cleaning cars?
Thank you. If you're not really into cars, this is not a super. It's not what people think. It's not simple. I tell people all the time, the skill set in a business is actually most of the time the simple side of a business. That's why so many dentists and eye doctors and all these guys, they come out of doctors, period, come out of medical school and they fail at their practices, is because they weren't taught how to be an entrepreneur, and it changes the game. So tell me about your family life.
So I've been married 10 years now, 10 years in July of 2019. My wife Cheryl and I have 2 girls, Kimball and Benson.
Yeah.
And they're awesome.
Dude, your daughters are amazing.
My 7-year-old is a huge sweetheart. She's a little angel. I don't even know how to describe how easygoing and nice and obedient she is. And my 4.5-year-old is a Tasmanian devil and can be incredibly sweet.
Right.
Like yesterday, I was stressed out. I was taking care of some business stuff, and my wife could tell I was stressed out. And she came out and gave me a big old hug. And she can be just like a little teddy bear.
Right.
But man, she can also be a cyclone.
She is something else, man. She gets wound up and she is going.
It's that red hair.
Oh my God. Well, it's funny because my daughters, I can relate to it because Darren, our youngest, is the little sweetheart, and then Delaney, our little redhead, she's a little nutty, and then Ryan, I don't even know how to class. She's in a class owner. They literally took that birthing canal and burned it. So there's never going to be another one like her because. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, but so amazing family. Your wife, she's got her own career.
Yep, she's a school teacher. She does physical education.
How much has that played a role into helping you succeed, is having a wife that, has her own thing, her own career, her own income,
It helps a lot. Helps and also hinders, because one way, it helps that we have the ability to pay our bills, and I can be a little bit more daring with the decisions we make.
Yeah.
And I can be the gambler on the business, and she is the stability. But the hindering us is like, I would love for her to want to be home, and take care of the kids. She's not that way. She would want to work no matter what.
No.
But also, when I get home, I'm tired, and when she gets home, she's tired.
You're both worn out.
And we're both worn out. And then the girls, so she doesn't really have a break either, and then I'm beat.
Right.
This is a very physical job. A lot of people that don't detail cars understand how physical it is.
It's one of the most, we've got a lot of people in our group that are military, former military, police officers, current police officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, very physical people, and this does damage to them.
Yeah. Not just holding a polisher, bending over to clean rims or tires, climbing into cars, climbing out of cars, standing on ladders, reaching far places. Yesterday I polished an RV and I had to reach the middle of the front cap, and leaning on a ladder, and then just jumping in and out of the van, getting stuff. Yeah, it beats you up, and you're out in the sun. Me being mobile, for those that have shop, it's a little different.
Right.
But the sun wears you down too.
So why, you just hit on something. So why mobile? Why so you're...
I kind of fell into it where I've been doing this so long. I always was mobile, right?
Right.
I never jumped into a shop situation because I built my business as a mobile business from when I was 13 years old. My mom used to go with me to the city and the police department. I would go in and get the keys to whoever's car I was cleaning. I'd come out. My mom would drive me home in this customer's car. I would clean it. She would come out and inspect my work.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I'd fix and touch up whatever it was.
That's cool. That's cool.
Then I'd take it back, get paid, and grab the other set of keys, or I'd be done. So that happened until I was 16 and a half, 17.
Right.
So in order for me to get my driver's license, I had to finish and get my Eagle, because I'm an Eagle Scout.
Right.
And
Huge.
so I was motivated. I'm a teenage boy. I had a truck. I had money in the bank from detailing since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I wanted to buy myself a 57 Chevy truck and cruise all over.
There you go.
But so once I got my driver's license, I was a senior in high school. Then I would leave school every day at the end of the day, go pick up a car, leave my truck at the police department or the city, whoever I was working for, go home, detail it, and bring it back. And I did this most days after school and Saturdays.
Right.
And so I was driving around people's nice trucks and nice cars.
That's awesome, man.
17 years old, cruising around in some pretty nice things. So it can be a lot for a 17-year-old, to do that. But that's how I started doing this.
So what, you look back, and what's some of the setbacks people don't think about in business? What are the things, and I'm not talking about specifically in the detailing industry, but in owning a business, what's some of the things that you don't think that, like when you're talking to friends, if you go to a party or you're at church or you're at an event, a lot of times, I don't know about with you, but people that talk to us, when they find out that we're self-employed, they think that we're like on constant vacation.
Yeah.
So what's something that if you had to get across to your wife, your kids, your parents, people that are expecting things out of you, how would you explain some of the challenges and setbacks that you face on a daily or weekly or monthly basis?
Helping them understand, so I remember when I was a one-man band, right? I have some guys that work with me now. I had a trailer and a truck where I would go out at 7 in the morning, show up, wash cars all day, detail cars all day, and then go to another appointment, and I'd get back and it's dark and it's 9 o'clock. Then I would get cleaned up, put everything away, either do homework, because I was a college student then too.
Gotcha.
Or I'd have to make sure I finished work on time so I could go home, shower, and then go to school from 7 till 11 p.m. every night.
Right.
So if you're okay with working Monday through Saturday, 12 to 14-hour days, then I guess I'm on vacation.
Right. Well, I think that people don't think about either. It's even if you're listening to this and you're thinking about either expanding your business, the legalities, the doing it right way, the filing your taxes, of getting your people onto payroll, is I know that you're adding staff on. You're going through some of this right now, and it takes its toll on you.
It's really frustrating because you're not told this stuff, right? You don't just call up the state and say, okay, what I need to do. There's a website. You have to read through all this, and then you find out that, oh, I should have filed this instead of that. No one walks you through this. I mean, your CPA can help you, and I've been calling my CPA a lot.
Right.
You need to have a CPA, that's for sure.
Boy, right?
Yeah.
Everybody talks. You know what cracks me up? People that are either new in business, or if they're not familiar with being self-employed, they always talk about an attorney first. And I'm like, when we first organized our companies, or if we're like changing a contract or something like that, every once in a while, I mean, I don't even know if it's once a year. I don't think it is. Every couple, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years, I might need an attorney. I'm with my CPA, like, if not weekly, it's several times a month.
Your CPA should be getting Christmas gifts that are better than what you give your wife, man.
Yeah.
Because they're worth their weight in gold, really.
They are.
And mine helps me out a lot. He's been great to me. And I just, you ask them the questions. The other thing is, don't tell everybody your plans. I found out that if you start telling your customers, oh yeah, I'm going from a sole proprietor to a S Corp or a LLC or whatever it is, they're going to give you their 2 cents, and it's not the best advice.
No.
Because it will wear you down when you're like, oh, one person's telling me this person's telling me that. No, talk to the person that actually deals with your money, sees how much you're making, and lets you know, okay, you're making this much money, then you need to be filing this way.
Time to make a change.
Okay, and now if you go over this amount, then it's time for us to file in a different way.
Right.
And you need to do this, and this. Don't listen to people who don't actually have businesses unless it's the exact same business you have.
That's exactly it. It's all different.
Everything's different.
It's, I mean, if you have staff, if you don't have staff, if you've got real property involved, if you own a house, if you don't own a house, I mean.
If you're in sales or if you're a service.
Right.
If you're doing retail, it's different than service industry.
It's exactly it.
And everything you're qualified for, your insurance is different. I know a lot of people in my industry that detail, they don't do it right. None of them have a business license in the city they operate in, or they don't have insurance.
Or they're not paying their staff. They're paying them under the table. Here's the thing that I want to get across too. I'm glad you brought this up. I'm going to set up a scenario, okay? Let's say that I hire Tom to come on, and let's say that I bring him in to clean my carpets in my house. And Tom brings on a helper. And they're cleaning the carpets, and the helper is up on top of my stairway, cleaning the stairs, and all of a sudden he falls. And the guy breaks his arm. And let's just say for a second that Tom, I've been doing business, I think he's legitimate, right? Let's say that Tom ends up not having workers' comp. He's paying the guy under the table to save money. Is not only they're going to come after Tom,
oh yeah,
workers comp is going to come after you as a business
at your home on your homeowner's insurance.
Yep, but the homeowner, me hiring Tom on, is going to get in trouble too. And so when people operate under the outside of the law, not only they're setting themselves up for, because I'm telling you, they're going to go back and figure out how long you didn't pay your staff workers comp, and you're going to have to go back and pay that in arrears. And that's going to be the cheap part. The fine's going to be huge, and now you've got eyes on you for a long time. They're not going to trust you.
Yeah.
And then your customer is going to spread the word that his insurance is getting sued, maybe personally getting sued because of your ignorance on not adhering to what you should be doing right.
And as the customer just trying to save a little bit of money, went with the cheaper guy instead of the guy who actually had the legitimate business.
Right.
That's the other thing. It costs money to run a business.
And here's what pisses me off about that. If I'm in it, I'm in an industry. I've worked my entire life to not just build myself up in this industry, but whether you like me or you don't like me, I've done a lot in this industry. This podcast is one of them. I'm not charging people,
Yeah.
I mean, we do what we do, but I've worked my entire professional career to take and build this industry up. And in one swift move, a guy like good old Tom that's not playing by the rules can take and scar that industry for an entire marketplace and cause all of us to have a black eye. And so with that, what's some of the hard lessons you've learned? What stands out? Is there one or two things that have just been like, wow, I wish I would have either done this before, or, I mean, I don't know, just something that stands out that you're like, I was completely in the dark on this. And we don't script this, so it takes them a little bit to get it. You know why?
Well, there's a few things that come to mind as far as I wish I would have known better. One of them is this switching over into a different realm of my business with a S Corp and LLC stuff. You ask all the questions and they tell you what to do, but you don't get the specifics. I wish there really was
better outline and guidance.
Yeah, and it's almost like the state is really trying to screw you up. So you got to take your time and really research it.
It comes down to talking to your accountant, your CPA, not your H&R, that other company.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sued, but, and I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that if you're gonna be building a business entity, that's probably not the advice to get. You probably need to go a step or 10 above that. So, let me tell you a quick story. What happened to us? We were legitimate. We went to the state and we asked them for guidance on our workers' comp. They classified different, for danger zones, so to say. And so we were working with the state. They oh yeah, well, your detailers, you do this, this, and this. So they put us in that class, right? So I don't know, 6 years goes by. We had one guy get hurt a few years before this event happened, so it was no big deal. But out of the blue, a workers' comp guy comes by our shop one day, and he goes, hey, I just want to take a good look at your business, make sure that you're up to snuff. So I show him everything. We had a safety manual. We had all of our posters up. We were dialed, right? And he goes, well, I show that you're a classification on your workers of, I'll just use a number for principle, of a 6. Really, looking at your operation, you need to be a 7. And I go, okay, well, a guy, a person in your position, 6 years ago said that we needed to be a 6. Well, we're not responsible for categorizing you technically. Is that you need to make the right decision. And I'm looking at you now, and you needed to be a 7 the whole time. $6,800 fine. $6,800. So I go to my CPA and I said, what the hell? And he goes, welcome to state government. And he goes, here's the deal. We can fight them, and they're just they're gonna make you miserable. Just pay them. Just pay them. I mean, they recommended it. I had the person's name I talked to. I had it all written down. I had everything. And they said, doesn't matter. So now the mistake I made, I should have gone to my accountant. The accountant could have contacted them and said, here's why we think we're a 6, but could this be a 7? Got it in writing with a professional. Now they have a harder time fighting that. But because I didn't do that, is I cowboyed up, and honestly, I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't think I need a state guy was telling me what to do. I didn't think I needed clarification.
Thing of all of this, it's scary, right? It almost paralyzes me sometimes when I think about what I'm doing. Am I compliant? Am I doing it right?
No lie.
And there are other people out there who are trying 1,000% to circumvent and go around the law all the way. They don't want to pay anything.
No.
They're just trying to, I don't know. There's a lot more I could go into that, but it's...
Well, let's dive into it for a second.
For me, it's frustrating.
Well, because here it is on the service side of the business, is that there's people that A, aren't paying taxes at all, B, they're flying under the radar, C, they're hiring people illegally, and I don't mean immigrants, I mean they're not paying workers' comp, they're not paying taxes, they're not...
Yeah, they're not paying taxes at all.
At all.
It's an all cash business.
No, all cash business, completely under the radar, and they'll disappear like that, you know. And here's the deal: is I've seen it, you know, I've seen it all too many times. They say, "Well, I'm going to fly under the radar for just a little while," and a year turns into 2 years, and 2 years turns into 6 years, and then they got a legitimate business, and all of a sudden, when you get a legitimate business, if somebody starts sniffing around, guess what? They're going to come after you. You can only listen, man. I've been in survival mode. You see it for those that are watching the video. That's what started my little micro empire, man.
Yeah.
You know, 20 something years ago. So if you tell me, excuse me, if you tell me, oh, Renny, man, you know what? It's because, you know, you've got it made. No. This was attached. For those that are listening to the podcast, I'm holding up my world famous hose nozzle, you know, because it was a $20 investment with this, a hose, and kind of a spongy thing that I bought because that's all I could invest in because that's all the money. I know how it is to start with nothing, but I legitimized. Now, what I tell you, was I above the table right off the bat? No.
Nobody is. You're going to start somewhere.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you got to always work to get better.
I was also a kid, you know, and I also didn't know any better.
Well, that's kind of how I felt as I grew my business.
Yeah.
I started as a kid. I didn't go to college for, you know, how to run a business. I didn't have...
Now, you're in college right now, though, right? Going after your bachelor's?
Yeah, still.
How much longer do you have? Takes forever, doesn't it?
It's taking forever.
It's okay. How old are you?
I don't measure it in
How old are
time.
you?
I measure it in units.
Right.
How many more units could I get done?
How old are you?
I'm 34.
34.
Hey,
man, dude,
I'll
last
probably
year...
have done by the time I'm 40.
Cool. Well, you know what?
A little at a time.
I didn't finish my bachelor's until I was 47, 46, 47. And then I finished my master's when I was 53 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, so you know what? And you're going online, right?
Yeah.
Dude, online learning's BA, but it's tough because I just dig it because
busy work.
It is. It is. It's a lot of fill. And you know, it's funny because my first time around in college, I got a horrible attitude. I quit, you know, when I was young because I thought I knew it all. Not that I knew it all. I mean, I didn't have time for it. And God, if you're listening to this and you're young, I'm telling you, Bill Gates said it. His one piece of advice on starting a business is do it soon, do it fast, and don't wait. Is it ever too early? No. Is it ever too late? No. You know, it's never too early and it's never too late. Is the only time it's too late is when you've overthought about it and you know you get paralysis by analysis. You know, where you can't pull the trigger.
And I've done it. I have to remind myself when I am doing it. That's part of recognizing if you're doing well. You know, you overthink some things. Sometimes you just gotta type up the email, read it for a second, and push the button and send.
Oh yeah, you know, I just learned a new trick. I was listening. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I read a lot. I'm reading. I got probably about 6 books. I'm doing a read over on 2 books right now.
Yeah.
So I'm 4 new books, 2 rereads. Actually, 3 rereads because I'm rereading my own book because I'm doing a series on it starting this or next week, and so I'm getting reacquainted with the book that I wrote, you know, that came out in 2012, and so it's been a bit since I've read the, you know, cover to cover, so I'm rereading it right now. This brings up a great point: is that 2 things? Is that mentors? How big of a part? At what age did you? When in your career? So how many years are you into legitimate business? I mean, were you know,
I'd say
2008?
Legitimate, yeah, 2008.
2008.
Right after I got home.
And so we're 12 years into it. Along that line, at what year do you think that you really got legitimate? That you know, it was like hardcore. Okay, I'm on point now. Not really. I'm not making what I want to make, but I'm doing things right. At what year was how long did it take you to really put that? in emotion?
2013, I went into training, and I think it probably took me until 2016, 2017 before I was like, all right, I'm starting to really figure this out. You know, it doesn't happen right away. And
it doesn't.
And part of the problem I could see people have, and I have this problem, is I actually work in my business and on my business. So I will detail all day and then do the business side at night. But if I don't get certain phone calls made to the CPA or the state or those things that I need to during those business hours, it's not going to happen.
You're screwed. Yeah.
And I wait for the next day.
It's tough.
And so that happens, and next thing you know, weeks have gone by.
Well, you know, one of the things I had to do when we probably at the point you're at right now is, I'm going to say we were there in about 2002, somewhere right in there. And you look at that wasn't all that long ago, 18 years ago. Is that we went from being a successful shop to being, it went overnight. It turned from being successful to where it was out of control successful, which is a good problem to have, right? But it wasn't, because I wasn't used to controlling that kind of those number of people, and that number of money. And what I finally had to do is I pulled myself out of working in the business a little bit, not a lot at first. One day a week, I had a business day where all I did was the books, the filing anything I had to do, conversation with our really my bookkeeper was where I had all my contact, because she worked with our accountant. And so I would talk to her like once a week, and then I talked to our accountant maybe once a month or so, once every other month, because we had such a great program down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But when I was in that heavy growth mode, is just pulling myself out of the daily grind once a week made a huge difference.
And I need to make the effort to do that more often.
It's discipline.
I do find myself doing it.
Yeah.
One thing that always so frustrates me a ton is, say I make that plan, and then one of the guys doesn't show up.
Oh God.
That really can mess up your business.
Well, a lot of people don't know it. When you
got to pick up the slack.
You do. And when you employ people, when they are sick, you're sick. When they're going through a divorce, you're going through a divorce.
Yep.
When they're having a breakup with a girlfriend or boyfriend, you're having a breakup. Everything that they experience when you're there. So I think a lot of the things too is we've talked about it in past podcasts. Is I think the biggest challenge for me when I had staff was building a culture and building to where I finally, not my employees, I got comfortable with having staff and learning that it wasn't just about money, that I had to treat them a certain way and give them I had to data boy them. B, I had to realize they're never going to be me. They're never going to be as committed. It's not their business. So for them to do 80% of my work, I was always happy.
That's all you could ask for.
Yeah. C, to learning what would take, and you were talking off before we started recording, how you and the guys goof around, you have fun. I think that having somewhere fun to be instead of always serious.
Yeah.
I'm not a yeller when I lead, at people. I'm more of a, I'm going to show you, 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 and then you're gone. If you don't get it. I just don't. I'll show you so many times. I'll be patient. I'll have some fun with it. But at a certain time, it's almost like the 3 strikes thing.
You know what sucks sometimes though? When you're small, when you're really small, and you're working hard, they know that you need them too.
They do.
And that sucks.
It does.
Because sometimes you just gotta get rid of them.
Yeah.
And suck it up and bear the weight of 2 people and prove your point that everybody's gone. Everybody it can be fired.
Hey, we had a mutiny. We had 2 of our main guys come in. I just hired, I didn't know at the time, I just hired what would turn out to be our best staff member ever. As Jorge George. I think you met him you met him at SEMA.
You've told me about him a lot.
God, this guy was this dude was just let me go back. We had some great people through the years. We really did. So if anybody's listening that used to work with us, is I'm not saying you you weren't great. I'm saying that we probably weren't at the point to make you great. We're at the point to make George great. And in return, he made us great. Does that make sense? Because you know what? Here's the deal, is if you look at just hiring people and just that they're a number and how much you're going to pay them, you're screwed. You know? You're totally screwed. But I remember coming to the shop one day, my two main guys, I won't mention their name, came in and they basically told me what the new rules were. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. They basically wanted to double their wages. They wanted 2 weeks paid vacation. You know, it was ridiculous. They wanted massages once a week. I mean, it was just, you know, and I'm exaggerating a little bit now, but they really laid it out. And so I didn't disagree with them. I didn't agree with them. I didn't say anything. And when they were done explaining it to me, I said, okay, what's my option? If I say no to this, what happens next? And they go, well, we'll quit. We'll give you our 2 weeks notice. And I said, so if I don't agree to that, you're going to give me your 2 weeks notice. Now here's what's happening in the shop.
Yeah.
Everything's recorded. Okay? Everything at that point's recorded. So I get on the phone, I call Diane, I said, hey, figure out what their last 2 checks are. I'm going to pay them for the next 2 weeks. And then bring up their resignation forms. And we're just going to have them handprint in why they're resigning, and you know that they're giving their 2 weeks notice and they're gone. She goes, what are you going to do? And I said, you'll see when you're here. So she walks in the shop a couple hours later. I pulled him in. Our new guy, George, is working on a car. And I said, George, can you hear me? He goes, yeah, I can hear you. And I said, okay, George, hey, how would you like to be the new manager of the shop? And he goes, does it come with a raise? And I said, yeah, it comes with I think it was $5 an hour, a $5 an hour raise. He goes, yeah, I'm the new manager then. And he goes, what about these guys? And I said, well, they just gave their notice. They're quitting. And so I'm giving them their last 2 weeks in advance, and you guys can go on your way. And the one looked at the other, their brothers, and was like, you could tell he was sold a bill of goods. And he was like, oh, shit, you know? And they went on their way. And I remember the one guy comes back like a couple days later, and he's like, hey, you know, can we talk about this? And I said, no, I'm done. No. You know what? You tried to mutiny, man. And I said, you know what? You guys, we gave you paid vacations. When you guys came to us, there's 12 people living in one house. You guys own your own houses now. You know, we've sent you to go see your parents. We paid for it. We've done all these things. And then you try to take, hey, you know what? If you want to go make more money and find another job, I'm good with that. But to try to take and screw me and going into our busiest time of year, I've got a young man that's on fire over there. You guys were awesome. You guys were, each one of you was making $50-something thousand a year. Dude, this is like 2003.
Yeah. Wow.
The other one was making in excess of that, way more than that. And I said, good luck. So a lot of people don't think about the headaches of growing and you know, what the expenses are, you know, of having a shop is cheap. A nice van like yours. So kind of explain your van. You've got a cool setup. And so if you're watching the video, what we should do when we post this, when you see the post, would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Put a picture of your van setup.
Yeah,
on this over on Facebook or Instagram.
So actually, before I had a van, I had a trailer.
Okay.
A nice trailer. I dialed it in. I had a custom aluminum box in the front with a generator and a power cord that pulled out.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
And it was all tricked out too. Powder coated the shells, all really pretty blue.
Right.
And then, as I had more guys, I didn't want stinky guys in my truck.
Right.
Right. Because now I have a family. And we work all day, and I get my truck, and it smells like butt, and I didn't want that.
Right.
So I decided I need a van. And I'm glad I have a van. Partially because I can drive in the carpool lane. I get to appointments faster now. I don't have 6 tires to replace. I only have 4. I'm not messing up the brakes or the tires on my truck. There's a lot of benefits to having a van.
Absolutely. Some serious tax benefits too. A lot of people.
Yeah, brand new vehicle and. So my van has a custom water tank in it, built out of aluminum. My van, when it comes to a stop, it doesn't slosh. When I turn the corner, it's baffled, like a boat inside. It has compartments.
Right.
That was my idea. I built it to fit right over the axle of the wheel wells where I had it built. I have a generator in there, nice powerful EU 3000, and I had that custom exhausted so it's out the floor and out, so I could run the generator if I needed to while I'm driving. I could warm the steamer up on the way to the next appointment. Pressure washer, toolbox, steamer, but I went with a high roof because somehow
you got a Ford, right?
I have a Ford Transit, yeah, the tall one. I have my ladders in there because I do a lot of RVs.
Right.
So I have ladders. I can fit scaffolding in there, standing up. I can fit planks in there. I even have one of those jacks that you can bring with you, those quick jacks. That fits in my van too.
Gotcha.
If I wanted to lift the car up at someone's house.
Yeah.
So, and then
I'm thinking of something right now, and dude, I just took this thing a whole different way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
No, I just thought of your nickname. Now we got to go there.
There you go.
What's your nickname?
No, I'm not bringing
Come on,
that
dude.
up.
No. What do we call you?
we're
What do
not
we
gonna
call
get
you?
into that.
Yeah, we are. Come on.
You're
What do
the
we
one
call-
that gave me that name.
Dude, come on.
The lumberjack, huh?
No,
the log splitter.
The log splitter. That's exactly it, man. If you're watching, you'll see Kyle's a big dude. And we started calling, sorry, man. That is totally random. Oh, well, we're going to get some laughs
I
out
don't
of
even
that.
know how you got that.
Log splitter. Dude, you're huge. I mean, just goes to prove, you're thinking. I've
Yeah.
never seen it or anything, but I'm guessing that, you could seriously hurt somebody.
We'll find out later.
Yeah, no way.
And then I took it to a place that does van conversions, and I had them bolt, and I had them do it, not me. I didn't want the liability of doing it.
Bolting it down.
They bolted seats in there, so I have DOT approved seats with seat belts for my guys. So
How many staff can you fit in there with you? Were you driving?
I can
how
fit
many?
4 with me. I actually have 1 seat out right now, so right now I can fit 3 with me.
That's, my perfect combination. I think you've heard me say this. Was me and 2 guys or me and 3 guys. Those are a
That's my-
mean ass team, dude.
Yeah.
We could make so much money because 1 or 2 of them would really know their stuff, and then the other one was kind of a vacuum, window, wheels,
Yep.
tire dressing kind of person. And it's funny because that's usually my weak link.
I find it best with me in 2 or 3 because it allows me to get them going
And
then
step
me to
back.
step out of the way, do the emails, the phone calls, jump
Right.
in,
It's brilliant.
help them out, and I'll do anything if it's time. If it's in the order of operation for me to do the windows, I'm jumping in doing windows.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'll bend over and do tires. I'm not one of those that's like, I don't do that anymore.
Right.
So I do everything my guys do that I make them do. I do it way faster.
Right.
and way better.
Right.
But like you said, 80% is all I can ask for sometimes.
It's all you can. And I've always realized, and I like what you said earlier, is that you want people to go back to school. You want people to improve. You don't want them to work for you the rest of their lives unless they're setting it on a career path. We can give people that career path. There's detailing companies out there, believe it or not. And back when we were in our running shops aggressively, we were just looking into this, and it's giving retirement accounts, setting up retirements. It's to the point where that service industries need to be doing this.
California, if you have, I think it's 25 employees or more,
Yeah.
you have to pay in their retirement.
Yep.
And next year, I think it drops down to like 10.
Right.
So
It's going to change some things.
Yeah, it is. It's going to increase the prices on the details.
Yeah.
The price is going to go up. Where's that money come from? Or the volume has to increase.
That's it. Well, it's just like all these, the companies now in cities like LA and San Francisco where the minimum wage is $15 an hour. Hey man, when you go into, Denny's, it's going to be more expensive. Simple as that. They got to pass that cost. I honestly don't mind if I got to pay $2 more for a meal and somebody can live. But here's the thing: is minimum wage was never set up to run a career off of it. But I'm so disconnected from reality that I haven't employed a large number of people in a long time. I'm not sure, is the job market so bad that people are looking for entry level jobs as a way to make a living, like long term, or what am I missing?
No, I don't think so. It's kind of weird. I lived in Texas for a couple years, right? Back in 2005, 2007. And there are grown adults that work at jobs like Taco Bell or whatever.
Right.
At the Whataburger, if you're listening.
Well,
but the cost of living is a lot lower.
Right.
I think our cost of living has gone to a point where it's so astronomical that all you can do is raise it. But here's what I think. Minimum wage or increasing the minimum wage doesn't help the person as much as they think it will, right? So you make $2 more an hour, right? Guess who helps it the most? It helps the state, helps the government.
Taxes.
The taxes.
Yeah.
I think it benefits them more than it benefits the individual.
Huge.
Because now that they're making $15 an hour, the cost of living in their area is going to go up. It's almost like they're getting a pay decrease because everything else is going to cost more. So honestly, I think it's the government wanting more tax money and they're getting it that way. I would much rather see that we work on bringing the cost of living down to help those people live a better life.
Well, good luck in this state.
Not going to happen.
Most states. There's
but that would make sense
in a lot of ways. The other thing I look at is back when I was a kid, I remember when I was a teenager, I was making $3.75 an hour minimum wage. And it didn't grow for a long time. But yet, the price of a car, the price of bread, the price of milk, price for rent, mortgage, everything else did. So I think we did get a little behind on it. The other thing is that I don't get my panties in a bunch because we would, if we'd hire our entry levels at minimum wage. If you were there at minimum wage 60 days later, we weren't keeping you anyway. We wanted you $3 above minimum wage within 90 days.
You got to show that you're...
That's exactly it.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't. And I'm not saying that, and I hate that, we don't have a lazy culture. It's not. No,
we do have a lazy culture.
It's not right for some people. I've had people in the past that have worked for me, and I've had to tell them, "You're smart, but this is not the job you can do." And then that person went and got fast food. He worked in the fast food industry.
Right.
And I said, "Told you don't do that. You need to go to school.
Right.
You need to get an office job. You're not a fast-moving person."
Right.
I'm like, I'm a big boy, and I run circles around you all day, and you're a twig, and you should be able to move faster. So I could see that it's not for everybody. Certain jobs won't suit people.
No, for sure.
It's okay.
And it's also, I look at people that hire people on small businesses like you and I, blue collar businesses, service businesses, is they want, man, don't make it all about money too, because the environment. If you're yelling at people and shouting at people and you're a jerk to be around, who wants to work for you? I don't care how much you're paying me. I don't want to be around you.
Yeah.
So the culture that you've developed in your company is important too. So let's ask about this, is that networking at the local level. Obviously social media, you're active on social media.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to go out and build up local relationships?
That's fluctuated for me over the years. I'll explain why. I have a lot of local places I buy things from. I have a lot of relationships with local businesses, and I'm always good to them, and they've been good to me. But and I think I probably need to reach out more to some of the associations in the neighboring city. But the city that I live in, I grew up in, my dad was a police officer in. There's a lot of people that know me already or know of my family. And I think it's a pro and a con. I think there's a lot of politics involved in the networking and the associations. And I am very anti-politics.
Gotcha.
We'll say that. I think there's a lot of shady things that happen in certain governments, in local or whatever, in associations or groups, right? So I'm always nice and good, and if they ask me to contribute to a fundraiser, a Boys and Girls Club fundraiser, so I'm always happy to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
But because I've always worked in my business, it's hard for me, and I've been offered many times to take a Tuesday morning or a Monday afternoon and go to a Rotary Club meeting and be there. I'm mobile, so if my van is somewhere, I'm with it, or I'm not with it, but I don't just come and go back and forth from appointments with my guys. So I've never taken the opportunity to really go and stay at the Rotary Club or the what do you call
Chamber
it?
of Commerce. Right. Yeah.
Because I'm more mobile. If I had a shop location and I could say, all right, guys, I'll be back in 2 hours, maybe I would do that. But I work everywhere from Big Bear to Anaheim to Palm Springs to
big area.
Yeah, I work a big area depending on the job. So It's hard for me to travel those places.
Competition. How do you view competition? Southern California, I say this. Starting, I'm born and bred. We live literally, in opposing towns. And what I mean by opposing towns, these towns back in the heyday in football, we were just talking about this earlier, had to have police escorts in and out of our own towns. They hated each other. So much so that my grandmother went to the same high school that I did. They hated each other way back then. And I don't know if it's still there now. They're really not as competitive as they used to be. But competition was fierce. Competition in California, if I was going to start a detailing company and I was in California or if I was in Las Vegas, I'd be thinking real hard about it because it's a tough market.
So how I look at competition, I have some competitors that I have cordial relationships, I'm nice to them. I'll talk to them. They call me. We kind of complain about the same things like, the weather or somebody did something.
People giving shit away for nothing. And,
yeah, exactly.
This
detailer did that for this price. Or, hey, did you have this customer call you and give you, he was, this tire kicker, right? He was asking for prices. So I have those competitors that I'm very, I'm just friendly to.
Right.
And then I have those that I don't even think are in the same competition as me, right?
Right.
So you have your competition, but there's different categories. And I've had people tell me, oh, but your competitor gave me this price. I'm like, well, give me my competitor's website, in their social media, and let me take a look at it. They're like, oh, they don't have a website. I said, well, then they're not my competition.
No, yeah.
They can't afford a website, right?
That's exactly it.
So you're talking about the guy who washes cars. That's not my competition. That's a guy that's in my industry in a different category.
I got to the point where in ours, when we'd answer the phone and people would say, well, wow, man, you guys are, Jim Gogan says it best. People would say, wow, you're really expensive. We'd agree with them.
Yeah.
Say, yeah, we are.
But I'm worth it.
Yeah, I'm worth it. Here's the deal. Let me ask you, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, is quality or price more important to you? Because you can't have both.
Yep.
You're not going to get it cheap and good because those people, they just don't, they're not there. And if they are, good luck. Something's not going to come out.
It's very rare that I ever take on a same day appointment. Very rare. One, we're always busy.
Right.
But two, I'm not that kind of guy that wants to just drop everything. If I'm not out working and if we don't have anything, I'm working on my business from home. Not in the business that day. I'm on it. So I'm getting paperwork done and that stuff. So when someone calls and they just want a basic detail, I'll gladly schedule them for the following day if I have an appointment available or whenever. But if it's mid-morning or afternoon and you call for a same-day appointment, I've just set this standard that I'm not going to do that unless it works out really well. Say I'm at a customer's house and they want to add a car and I have time. Heck yeah, I'm going to slide that in.
Right.
I'm not going to be stupid. But at the same time, I'm not going to drive across town for a basic detail when I could go do something else. I view my opportunity cost. I think about that often. What's the opportunity cost if I took on that person? One, they didn't really, or that's the other thing. If they're a customer already, yeah, I'll probably go do it.
Absolutely.
But if they're just calling me one at the same day and the way some people speak and they talk to you, I can tell this person's not going to be a return customer. They're looking for just one and done. And I don't want that anyways. I'm not looking to just go make $100 or whatever. Right. I want to build a relationship. I want to do a good job. And you can tell. You can tell over the phone.
I'm telling you, I always tell people, small business is that your number one asset is your returning customers. If you just kept marketing back to your return, everybody's in service businesses. It seems like everybody's they have to refarm and reinvent new customers constantly, is because their customer service is lacking. Something in your system's not right if you're losing customers.
One of my competitors has said that they spend a lot on Google AdWords every month, a lot of money. I'm like, why? Why are you spending so much?
They need new customers.
They're not retaining their customers.
They're not.
Something's
Their
wrong
retention.
there.
Something's bad.
And this has been years I've been listening to this person tell me that, and I've seen it pop up like crazy.
Right.
You know, yeah, you need new customers, but I use my existing customers and doing a good job for them to get them to refer their friends, because that's still the best way of getting customers.
Absolutely. We call it the sniper approach. 1 bullet, 2 kills.
Yeah, I want to have a ratio of new to returning customers that's balanced. I want it to be like 20% new customers and 80% returning customers, because out of the 100% of people, some of those people you work for, you don't want to do their stuff.
You don't want them coming back.
Sometimes you want to fire them.
Yeah.
So that's where
raise the price.
Yeah, the 20% fills that in.
You know, we had people all the time. We had a I won't mention his name. We had a customer for years, and he was very, very difficult to work with. You know where I'm going, right? I'm sure you've got those. And we just, through the years, we'd increase it. I mean, literally, he was paying double what anybody else in our network was paying. And he hit us on this one day, and he's like, why am I paying so much more? And I was like, to be directly honest and transparent, it's because you're very difficult. So we know we're going to be back. You've always got a complaint. We always going to have to come back and do more work. You pay slow. We're having to chase our money down. So we just charge you up front for all those inconveniences.
Exactly. I have customers, or had customers, that they like to detail hop. They like to use different detailers. So they'll try this guy, and then they'll try the other guy. And then they'll complain about that guy.
Right.
I had a guy that did that to me. And I pulled up to his house, and I'm not the type of person that really gets anxiety, but I pull up and I'd have this knot in my stomach. Just like, I got to deal with this guy. Like, I don't want to deal with this, right? So I got to a point where this person I knew used one of my friendly competitors, and he called me up, and I said, well, you're using this company. He's like, yeah, well, it's not. I said, I just don't want to compete with him. We're friends, and honestly, I think you should just
stay with him.
Yeah, stay with him. Well, but he left a scratch on my car and this and that. I said, well, I fixed a scratch from the other guy you used a while ago, and I almost wonder what you tell them about my services when you go to them, because you're complaining to me about them.
Right.
And so,
what was his response? What did he come back with?
He was shocked that I basically said, we're not a good fit.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. And I had to tell him in a nice way, whenever I come to your home, I feel sick to my stomach working for you.
Wow. What was his response then? What did he come back with?
He didn't know what to say. It was like, really, it was silent. He's an odd guy. He was a helicopter customer. Not that he had a helicopter. No, he would hover over you the entire time.
Oh,
You'd be in the garage, and we're talking, it was a nice car. It was a BMW, but it wasn't like a 5 Series. Right. We're talking like 328i.
Yeah. High-end Nissan.
It was pretty, but he wanted it detailed all the time. I got to the point, I'm like, why are we detailing this so often? Your car looks great. We did a paint correction on it, and he wanted just to have the royal treatment, but he also, same problems. Very slow to pay, and I don't know. So yeah, you can have those too, where you can fire your customer in the nicest way. Just say, this isn't working, or you are a lot of work. We
always tried with a price raise first.
Oh yeah, make money.
We had certain customers that I said, what's it worth? What's it worth to deal with this person?
What's my number there?
That's what's my magic number. We knew it was going to be more. So let me ask you this: family and fun. What do you like to do for fun during your off time? And how often are you working Saturdays and Sundays?
No, I don't work Sundays. I've only worked, actually, I worked a Sunday right after SEMA because I had to. I had a job that I needed to get done in time, but really I haven't worked Sundays in many years. Occasionally I work Saturday, every other Saturday. I try and do a short day on Saturdays because my guys want to have their Saturday too. And I get that, and they want to enjoy their Sunday, and some of them go back to work on Monday, and some of them have Monday off. We have that a cycle. But I'm working Saturdays a lot less. My wife is really into running. She's doing these Ragnar things.
She's hardcore.
And so she's trains. A stud. She's really training every Sunday or every Saturday. And so I've had to pay a babysitter, to go to work. Or I've even had to pay a babysitter just to go to the gym.
Hey man, those kids are getting to the age where those little hands will be good at doing windows.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
I told my daughter when she's old enough, I'm going to take her.
Oh, heck yeah.
On Saturdays just to do rims and tires on
That's
my
it.
fleet.
Yep.
She's going to earn her money.
That's
I'm going
it.
to teach her how to work.
Hey, once they're old enough to where they start having requests for things they want to have, they're old enough to start.
That was years ago.
Yeah. We put them to work. We make them earn it.
We like to go to the dunes. We go out to the desert and ride
got a side-by-side.
quads. I have a Razor. I have a trailer.
You still have your quads too?
Still have my quads. My wife has the quad that I bought when I was like a teenager. She rides that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, kept that since I was.
What's funner? What do you like better, the quads or the side-by-side?
So I love being out in the open on the quad, but it beats you to hell.
Right.
And my shoulders, it hurts. So I love my quad. I have a Honda 450 that I had bored out and cammed, things like a 480, and it's fast. It's scary fast.
Right.
And I would love to do it more often, but I don't take it as often because if the dunes are beat up, the Razor's so much nicer.
Oh yeah. Got the suspension in it.
Oh yeah.
Smooth.
And I've been really slow at jumping it. Like I don't jump it very often. If I do, it's a wussy jump, right? I'm only getting maybe a foot or two off, and I'm going maybe 20 feet. But I'm slowly getting more comfortable with jumping it.
It's spooky, dude.
It is
spooky.
And I did it with my kids in it. It's a little bit, going up and over a little roller, but by myself, I want to jump it a little bit higher.
Yeah.
I want to have some more, but it's fast. I mean, when you hit 65, 70 miles an hour on one of these things and you're flying across the sand, it's like, okay, if I hit a hole,
it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
Yeah. So
it's going to hurt.
I haven't hit its max speed. I've never taken that high.
We've flown out to, I do search and rescue, and we have flown out to the different riding points in California and picked a lot of people up in that helicopter and had to evac them out that were messed up. And a lot of people think they're Superman, indestructible. And I tell people all the time, man, it's testosterone's kryptonite.
We see the medevac or the helicopter that comes in and all the time. Every time we go out there, we had a friend that was flown out by CHP one of our last trips.
Really?
He collided with his son,
and
his son was fine.
He was messed up.
Yeah, the plastics on his motorcycle actually cut his belly open, like fat coming out.
Open?
Yeah, flayed him. He's fine, everything's good, but
that was
the first one it really hit close to home as one of our actual friends where someone had to come pick up his trailer and all this stuff and bring his family home, and why his wife went to Vegas to the ER.
So I've got two more questions. The last one's because I want you thinking about this a little bit.
Okay.
But I've got a question I'm going to ask between there. But the last question is I want you to think about a little bit is if you had one piece of advice, if somebody's listening to this, I'm going to give you three people. A person that's just starting out, a person that is where you were maybe 8 years ago, and then a person that is right where you're at. Mm-hmm. What piece of advice would you give them?
Okay.
But before I do that, faith. How big of a part, you and I have shared, I don't think there's ever a time that we come face to face and we don't talk about faith and sharing faith and so forth. How big of a part has faith played in your business even?
That's an interesting question. I like it. There's been days where I've said a little prayer, help me get through this.
Right.
There's been days where I got that phone call from that company that wanted me to come and do some big project for them, and I had to go and say a little thank you prayer for that. So it's every day, it's daily. I do feel that I'm blessed, and when those things happen, I just make sure that I'm grateful for it, and it helps in my business a lot. It centers you, having faith.
Right.
And it makes me take the day off on Sunday, because I don't work Sundays because of my faith, as part of keeping that day set aside.
Right.
It's helped me a lot. Sometimes when things are going really, really, really good, I have to remind myself too to take a moment and say thank you.
Be thankful.
And sometimes when things are going really, really, really bad, I have to take a moment to ask for help, but also remember you can get through it. That's probably one of the things biggest thing is it's going to suck. Just embrace it and move on.
I was remembering something from years ago as we used to say, just endure the suck. Just
embrace the suck.
Just
heard military say that often.
Embrace it, endure it. I don't know. I love putting myself in uncomfortable positions because it's for a very short time, and it allows me to respect the comfortable times. Does that make sense?
Yeah, stretches you.
It does. And like right now I'm going through a period, it's been since Christmas and New Year's, I haven't done any hardcore like hiking. I've skied a few times, but I'm all of a sudden in the last week, I've gotten restless. I need to go put it on the edge a little bit somewhere, do something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get it.
And whether that's, on your quad or your razor,
I know that for sure.
Doing something like that. It's also time for me to take and remind myself that I'm vulnerable and that we don't know when we're going to expire, to live life. Overworking. So we talked a little bit about this at lunch and then following lunch. I shared with you that I was listening, I won't mention his name, but a guru online. I got a lot of respect for the guy, a ton of respect. But he's constantly preaching to these young people, crank it out, crank it out, crank it out. Work nonstop. I took 4 hours off on a Sunday, once a year. And I got to call foul, because here's the deal, man, is I want to take that individual, put him into a life and death situation where he may make it or he may not make it, and see if he comes out the same person. Because none of us are coming out of this alive. We're all going to expire at some point. And I've had the misfortune of watching people expire over the years. And with my weekend warrior, stuff.
Yeah.
That's very serious. It's not a hobby. It's a very serious undertaking. And I've never once heard anybody, even the people that were really, really rich, they were poor rich people. They weren't wealthy. They've never come back and talked about their material belongings. All the people that were like the workaholics that that's all they did is they actually, I can tell you, all the ones that I've come across that were in life and death situations regretted it. So I think having downtime is, I think when all you do is work, I think you become boring, and I think that you can sell a lot of books. I think you can be popular. I think you can, because so many people are desperate to succeed. I think don't get me wrong. You're going to have to work like you've never worked before to A, build a successful business, and B, keep a successful business. But with that, if you're not taking some downtime and enjoying yourself, and daily, if you're not gifting yourself with working out, with a little one-on-one time. I love reading,
I enjoy, that's one thing I would say, read. I don't enjoy actually reading. I don't remember what I read, but I listen to audiobooks like crazy.
Yeah, you got me hooked to that. I listen to a lot of audios.
Because I retain the information and I'm able to implement it, I'm forcing myself now to read, and it puts me to sleep. But but I'm trying to force myself to read.
You know what I do is I listen to the Audible, and if it's a good book, I buy the book.
Yeah, that's exactly what I bought the book.
It's been a game changer for me.
Well, those guys you're talking about, these big guru or podcast business owners, I think, and I see through the BS, right? There's times I'm like, man, he's killing it. That's awesome. And then there's sometimes I'm like, you're hurting inside too,
dude.
Right?
No lie.
I can see through it and be like, just because you have big money, you just means your problems are different.
Yeah.
And I've been to a couple workshops from some of these guys, right? And they even said that, like, all these people want to hang out with them and be their friends and stuff, and all they want to do is just kind of be with their family and be away from it, because it's weird. Like, it's weird when people start to recognize you or when they know you. So in one way, I think like that guy we were talking about before, you can only be in that intense for so long. I think that he's losing his way a little bit when he's telling people work, because it's not going to do everyone good.
No. Well, and the other thing is they say, you know, I've heard this, not just him, but other people say, well, you know, you got to dedicate your 20s and 30s to it. Listen, yeah, you do. But I can tell you right now, my most successful time was my 20s. And I took the most time off. I was grinding it so hard, modern day terms. I mean, dude, I put the hustle before it was even, the word even became popular. But here's the deal. I was skiing all over North America. I was helicopter skiing. I was doing search and rescue as a reserve deputy. I was a volunteer police officer, you know, patrolling my hometown of the area where I was born and the city I grew up on the outskirts of it. I was community policing, you know what I'm saying, as a reserve police officer, as a deputy. I had all these other activities. I was buff. I was in great shape. I had a limit. I would work intensely hard when I worked, and I played even harder. And it was the most. Then I got into that kind of mentality. Work. I was that led me into the most miserable time of my life, and it took me 5 years, you know, or more to turn it around. So you know what? I just don't. You know what? You can. It's going to take you a decade or two to go. But we're just creating an ad right now, and it's got my image on it, and it says "Overnight Success, 30 years in the making."
Yeah.
Because I don't want, you know, you're going to be ahead of where I am. I'm coaching you and mentoring to be that. I want you 10, 15 years ahead of where I was. You know, that's just what any good coach, mentor, or friend wants for the people that they associate with. But here's the bullshit: is if you work smart, you work intelligent, you get the right mentors, you work a plan, you have a plan, you build a plan, you vision, and then you recreate all that every single year, and you just work it smart. You chase life down. You're hungry for life. You're playing hard. You're enjoying life. You're doing fun things. You're going to attract more from positive energy than you are from being stressed out and overworked.
I agree. I feel like my mind is always on business. Always.
7 days a week.
7 days a week.
I
every week an hour. And there are times where I'm like, you know, I have a notes on my phone and I'm like, oh, I got to do that. Or, oh, I got to do this. And my wife's like, stop it. We're in church, right?
Right.
The other day I was sitting in church. And I'm like, oh, I need to order some I forgot I need to order this.
Yeah.
You know, my mind's always on it. And that's good.
It is.
I like it. But I'm also taking the time, like days off. What else do I like to do? I like to be with my family. My wife, she's a school teacher, so she has government holidays off, so we go and do stuff. And
yeah, you're good about playing.
I take that day off.
I don't think you're as good as Joab, though.
No, he takes bigger dents.
That dude is just, as he turned around, I mean, that dude's fun to just watch, man.
Yeah.
This is a buddy of ours. I mean, the dude's always somewhere. Him and his wife and his family are, and I mean, not outrageously expensive trips or anything. But you talk about, you know, a lot of people buy a trailer or an RV and they don't use it. They're wearing theirs out, dude. There's not going to be anything left.
I wish we used ours as often as he uses his. You know, we use ours, but man, he is so fun. You know,
but
awesome.
And look at what his business is doing, man.
It's growing.
We're doing a podcast with Joe this weekend. I'm going to be at his shop down in Orange County, and we're going to do a podcast on this. So faith is huge. I want to share something about Kyle. And Kyle didn't know I was going to say this. Oh, going to get a little emotional. Is Kyle's faith is, well, you tell him.
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And when my mom got real sick this last year, is she had taken and shared with our kids that was her faith too. Before I came around, and I was always associated with the Mormons, with Boy Scouts like you, and a lot of good friends, in the Mormon Church. But I never had that exposure. My grandma was more of my kind of my faith-based coach, as a kid. So Italian, Catholic, right?
Yeah.
But I always had a lot of respect and a lot of friends, and a lot of really fun times with my Mormon friends, and even my uncle, that was a very devoted Mormon. I mean, big time. Well, my mom, it turns out, that's the faith. She was raised Catholic too, but she related with the Mormon faith more than anything. And so when my mom lost her battle last year, we asked Kyle to come in and do the prayer and then the grave dedication. And I know you know this. I'll never forget that. It was a special time, and I got to see him in another light. I knew he was there, you know what I'm saying? But he was magical, and I think that being comfortable in your faith, I'm the type, man, I don't fear, I probably say this too much, I don't fear a man or a woman in another faith. I fear somebody with no faith. When we go out to projects, man, we have you say a prayer, Catholic say a prayer, Buddhist, Muslim. I mean, we open the morning prayers up, and we have somebody of a different faith every morning say the prayer. And it's been beautiful, hasn't it? Because what it's made me realize is that it's pretty beautiful.
It's part of the team building too.
It is.
The respect for the other people. It starts our project off, Air Force One project we're talking about, on just a good foot every day. Praying for safety, praying for our families, praying for our businesses, and it's been an awesome thing. And that was, being involved in your mom's service was awesome. It felt like I was able to give back to you.
You did, in a big way. And to her, it was a good send-off party, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It's pretty special, man. She was colorful and sparkly, as my kids call it.
Definitely sparkly.
Definitely sparkly.
We had some glitter. That was
we had glitter. We threw over her graveside and her coffin and stuff like that. And it's she would have been very. She was happy, she got a send-off like that. And so, Kyle, we want to thank you for coming in. So how did
There's 3 questions.
Oh, well, here's the deal. Yeah, let's go back to that before I do.
Yeah.
Okay, advice to the new person just coming into business.
So as I was thinking about that, a couple things popped up. One, you need to learn how to do sales. That one skill will help you tremendously later on as you develop your skills. If you can sell and believe in what you're selling and people know that, then you're going to do good. With that, though, is also being honest. If you can sell and be honest, you're going to be a winner. Too many people in this industry are making sales and claims that are misleading and outlandish.
Right.
And it won't benefit you or the person you're putting it on, and you're just going to put a bad mark on the industry. So that there, middle of my career, training. You get training earlier, yes, it's important, but hone your skills, master your skills. That's about the time I met you 8 or 9 years ago, and went to training 7 years ago next month.
Wow. Damn.
And so honing your skills and your craft and getting trained, whatever you do. A lot of people think that you can learn everything on YouTube, but there are things that I know that you don't know because I got trained.
That's exactly it.
And that in your respective career, welding, whatever it is, dentists, like we talked about, there are hacks. There are those that are skilled, and then those that are highly skilled. And you need to be skilled or highly skilled. Don't be a hack. And then now, that what would help me now, I've been in the process over the last year or two of training myself to take risks, bigger risks. I have been pushing myself in little by little. And I used to be a bigger boy, and I was feeling it. I was working in my business too much, not on it. And I was neglecting my physical shape and my health. So that's one thing I've really improved on, and I should have did years ago, and added some years to my life. But being able to take a risk and not overanalyze things, to learn what I need to do and then execute it, that is a skill you have to learn. Some people have it, or some people just do it because they're freaking crazy.
Right.
They just throw stuff and just hope it sticks.
Yeah.
But I've been training myself and pushing myself and getting out of my comfort zone. I should have did it earlier in my career, but yeah, that's
I call it controlled recklessness.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, you're going to have so many, when you get to a certain point in your career, when you're doing things right, you're going to have so many things popping, so many opportunities popping. Some of them are absolute BS. Some of them will take too much of your time. Others will take too much capital. But there's those that just fit right. And man, I go after them. And if they don't work, banish ship. Simple as that.
I've had a few entrepreneurial endeavors, things that I've gone after that didn't work.
Yeah.
I didn't lose money on them. I played it smart and I thought about it. And then I have this kind of idea that I have good mentors and I have bad mentors. Good mentors, I learn from their successes. Bad mentors, I learn from their failures. And so there are people that I watch in other industries and in our industry that I do not want to be like. And it's motivation enough to not be like those people that I look at. And then I look at people that I want to be like or that I admire. And sometimes they let you down if you don't get to, if you looked at them from afar and you didn't know who they really were. And sometimes I've been really impressed and really happy about that. So find a good mentor and find a bad mentor and learn from both.
It's funny you say that because it's so huge. There's a person in our industry that a middle guy had gotten his ear and got my ear, and basically we didn't like each other because of what this middle guy was feeding to me and what the middle guy was feeding to him. When we actually met face to face, we've got this great friendship, and we found out that middle dude, for whatever reason, jealousy, just a little bit of evilness, whatever it may be, was completely steering us both wrong. That we came together and we actually get along fabulously good, and we like each other. We admire what each other's doing. And so, you got to be really careful of who gets your ear.
Yeah.
And who you listen to. It's really important. And so I think the thing I admire, before we close it out, about you and your wife, you guys are a great team. I like the fact that she's got her career, that you've encouraged her to pursue her career and better herself, and she has supported you in your career, and you guys have managed that very, very well. The other thing I like is that how serious you take your finances, but how unserious you take your finances.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To where you're vested, meaning that you invest. You've got a lot of things across the board. You're very in depth with your listening to what your CPA says, taking that advice. Managing your money is as important as making your money. You've done a good job with that, but you're not so uptight with your money that you don't go have fun. I watch you, guys like you and Joab, that are going out and you're enjoying the fruits of your effort. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
You have the toys.
I enjoy that now. I saw the error in my ways, and I had to hustle. I had to grind.
Absolutely.
In order to put me in that position, and I've had to play it smart with certain things and work the system. But I am happy, and probably if you would ask me that years ago, probably wouldn't have said that. I wasn't as happy as I am right now.
Absolutely.
And there's always shit around the corner.
Oh, well,
it's going to happen.
And here's the deal and I think the gurus we're talking about online is I think that undercover, if you talk to them and you got deep into their lives, is there some misery there that they're not talking about? And that's bullshit, because we all have challenges. I mean, in a business, like, okay, yesterday, dude, I just had my mouth completely cut open, right? I'm not supposed to talk really for 48 hours. I'm not kidding you. Yesterday, from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, I was on the phone. I guarantee you, in between for 12 hours, there was maybe a combined hour that I wasn't on the phone. I got off the phone the last time. I looked at my phone. It starts going crazy again with text messages. I turned it over and put it to do not disturb. Actually, I turned it off. I put it in airplane mode, and I was like, I'm done. And I've done that more often, more and more often. I think that you got to go dark every once in a while, and
I've learned sometimes I'll get calls. I'll look at my phone. I'm like, what time is it? After 5. Oh, I'm not answering it.
No, that's exactly. Hey, do you use an answering service for your phone?
I have an app on there
that does it. Yeah, I knew when I call you on your business line, it goes over to something. Is that pretty useful?
Yeah, because I can go and I can read. Like, I know, like, we're busy doing that or doing the podcast. I just read a message from someone,
right?
And I know I need to call
what's
them back.
going on.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Or I can say, oh, someone's calling just for a wash. All right, well, I'll call that when I
That's cool.
get a minute. So I can prioritize
That's awesome.
my life.
Well, I'll tell you, they said that Bill Gates, his biggest number one challenge in life right now is his schedule, because and that's even Bill Gates. I'm not
Yeah.
You fill up a gap. I mean, mine's a drop in his life, right? But we're all of our time is the same. We've only got 24 hours in a day. Nobody's getting this any more. Nobody gets any less. Some of us are going to die very young. Some of us are going to die happy old people. Some of us are going to die miserable old people. I tell my kids all the time, I'm bulletproof, man. It's either going to be a bad accident, something that I do that's going to take me out, or it's going to just be plain old age, because I'm not going down easy, I'm just not. And I've said that since I was a young dude. There's probably 15 times I should have been dead, that honestly, to be direct, there was like 3 times I thought I'm dead. I mean, one time was in a helicopter, and I really thought, yeah, this is over. I actually said a prayer. I said, I'll see you soon, dude. I mean, I told him, I said, forgive me for, all my stuff, that I've done. And I'm thinking through things real quick. And I thought, man, I better make this shorter, because I don't think I got very long. And I just told him, I said, hey, man, anything that's on my plate that I haven't apologized for, I'm really sorry. I'll see you soon. If there's a chance, bring me out of this. And he had plans. He had plans for all of us on that helicopter, And honestly, this is the bad part. I don't remember who was on the helicopter. I didn't know part of them. You know what I'm saying? There's part of a group that I had no idea who they were. We were just all together. But I'll tell you what, when we got off that
the day that it happened? Can you remember that?
I know it was in August. No, I don't know the date. I think I remember literally getting out of that helicopter and it smelled like raw shit, because people, I think there's some people, I don't know if I crapped my pants, but I came pretty close. I mean, it was the closest I've ever come to dying. I mean, it was that close.
That's a story for a whole nother podcast.
Oh, it is. That was just, that pilot, I remember, because, I'm not shy. I remember getting out, and he was like green. I mean, it literally, the pilot was like green. I mean, we all thought we were dead. I got out and just hugged him. I was like, dude, I owe you a makeout session. How the hell?
You want my firstborn?
Yeah, I was like, how the hell did we get, and I was pretty young at this point. And it was the closest I've ever had. And boy, I'm thankful that, God had plans for me at that time. Okay, so how do people reach you? How do they find you on Instagram, Facebook, and website?
Best way to find me on Instagram, all my social media is, and I spelled my business, because remember when I was a kid, I thought I was cool in 1998.
Right.
I spelled my business Extreme Detailing, so Xtreme. So Kyle, let me even see it. Dude.
Oh my gosh.
Farting it. Right? Oh man, there's one of those entrepreneurs popping up there.
There you go, right?
So Extreme Detailing Kyle. I was trying to reverse it. So Extreme Detailing Kyle, that's my Instagram, that's my Facebook, that's my TikTok, and my website is extremedetailingusa.com.
Right on. And if they want to reach you by phone, if they want to reach out?
909-208-3308.
Hey, go check out. He's got, I can't tell you what the video is, but he's got one of the most creative videos I've ever seen for any industry. That's going to be, when do you think that's going to be coming out?
In the next couple days.
Really?
Yeah,
it's that close?
Yeah, that was the rough draft I showed you.
Oh, dude, tag me in that so I can share that. I'm going to, that's a cool video. So, hey, Kyle, thanks for coming in, man. It's always good to see you. We had a good lunch today, broke bread together, had some great business meetings. And,
this was a good day.
Good to see you. You're on the move. You got a lot of good things happening in your life and in your business. Tell the family that I said hi, and I'm sure we'll see them. We don't go too long without seeing them. Yeah. And then, hey, everybody, thanks for listening. And again, if you're getting something out of this podcast, do me a favor. Would you share it? Just send it over to somebody. Say, hey, man, check this out. We love shares on social media. If you want to share it over when you see it. And then also just write a review on it. And if you like it, even if you don't. If you don't, we want to know about it because we want to make it better. I'm one of those guys. I don't want to hear what's good about it. I want to hear not just what's good. I want to hear if it's good, but I want to hear if it's bad too, what you think. The other thing is that we keep doing this, and I will we got the ultimate compliment again. I love hearing the impact we're making on not just your business, but on your personal life. Because when it comes down to it, again, none of us know the end day. We're going to face it sometime, young or old, hopefully old. It's better to grow old, but you just never know. And so we hope that we can help you make changes in your life where it makes you live a more profitable, happy, successful life. So again, this is the Renny Doyle Podcast. I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.